I'm LizJSimpson, and let's talk about how leaders impact growth. I'm LizJSimpson, founder of the Big Money Movement, accompanied by
Kelly Wasson, Director of Operations, Big Money Movement.
Yes, our leader's leader. Kelly's my boss. Okay, don't let the title fool you. I'm sitting next to my boss. There's a lot of intimidation happening, right? But Kelly, from your perspective, what do you think on the topic of leaders impacting growth?
Yeah, I think leaders are absolutely critical to growth. And I know that you can grow a company without good, solid leadership.
Yeah.
So I think it's absolutely critical.
Yeah, when I think about it, I'm like, well, who even defined what growth should look like?
Right.
And the growth goals and metrics. I think, one of the first calls for leaders is to set the vision, to set the strategic plan, and define what good growth looks like and those milestones and metrics to achieve it. So first of all, as a leader, you impact growth by defining what growth should look like, casting a vision, and then aligning a team together with clear roles to help them achieve it.
Absolutely, and I think that leaders often aren't the ones who interact with the clients. So without them leading well and the team feeling aligned to the mission, as you were saying, how can they know how to best interact with the clients and to produce more clients and referrals and retention? So I absolutely think, man, do leaders know the roles that they're really equipped? Do they know what they're doing? Do they know how important their role is?
Yes. I have a question for you. Is leadership just the title? When we talk about how leaders impact growth, are we talking titles? Or how might you define leadership another way?
No, we're talking responsibility, we're talking impact, we're talking just the role that they play and just the fact that they are ultimately accountable for their teams. And that's huge. If they don't know how dynamically they impact their teams, it's just red flags all over the place. No way.
Absolutely. I agree. When I think about leadership and growth, there's so many ways that we could define growth, right? Because leaders impact company growth. They also impact the growth of the individuals on the team. They impact how the company is able to grow internally through stakeholders, through team development, about how they're able to attract top talent. There was a study that I was just looking at, and it was talking about employee advocacy. And right now in our day and time, the pandemic has created this change and disruption in the marketplace when it comes to talent. So we have this global talent pool because now that people can work remote, that means if you're presenting a job opening, you're not just competing for the talent in your region, you're impacting on a global scale, right? You're competing, on a global scale. And the study was looking at how when we're looking for how to attract top talent, the leadership, the visibility of the leadership is paramount to making sure that you're able to attract them.
I know that's number one for me. I cannot, at this stage in my career, I am very selective with the leadership that I work with, not only peer-to-peer, but from top down. I'm very serious about that. I want to be in an environment where I can grow and flourish and where the person's not impacted by that negatively.
Yes.
They're not trying to stifle me. A lot of times you'll find that in toxic leadership where the leader or the person in the position of power is purposely stifling their team. They don't want them to grow. They don't want them to shine. They want to get all of that shine. And so I definitely think that's absolutely critical.
Yeah. It reminds me of one of the CEOs that I worked with who was really instrumental in my growth. And one of the things that she was able to do that gave her a competitive advantage that her peers weren't able to do was she had a team of other consultants. She was licensing her intellectual property, and there were many different trainers and consultants who were training to her intellectual property. Sounds like a simple phenomenon, right? We've heard it before. The challenge when we talk about entrepreneurship is a lot of her peers had this scarcity mindset. And they were like, why would I ever teach someone else my intellectual property, right? Why would I ever develop someone else to be better than me? Because what if they become a better speaker than me? What if they become a better consultant than me? And I remember in talking with her, she said, my job as a leader is to make everyone better than me. If I'm the best one on this team, if I build a company and for 10 years I'm always the best talent, I'm doing leadership wrong. And that resonated with me, and I'm like, you know what? My job is the people on my team should be better than me, right? And so we've recently hired a couple college graduates, and we talk about their excitement, like our excitement about them. And when I think about them, I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're this beginning stages of their career, and I'm like, 10 years from now, I'm not going to be able to hold a candle to these women.
We're shaping them. We are shaping them. And I love how we're able to set the pace for them.
Yeah.
So, like, it really impacts them. Like, when I have the one-on-ones with the team, they're like, wow, we're moving so fast. We're a startup. Like, this is great. Or sometimes, we're moving too fast. That's too much.
Way too fast.
Leaders should recognize that they're setting the pace for the business and the company. They are impacting growth, and they are the ones building the processes that the rest of the team has to follow. And so if that process is broken and that's being passed down to 15, 20 people under them, what does that mean for the growth and the trajectory of the business?
Yeah, you just reminded me of like one final note I want to talk about, because growth, when we talk about it, the perception is it's always positive. And we just had a conversation late last night, really exploring the negative impacts of growth, right? And the decision of, as leaders, we impact growth, and that impact might actually be, let's pull back on the growth, right?
Yeah.
And so like, I'll share some of my thoughts from the conversation. I don't know if you want to share it, but we're in this space where the market has demand for what we do, and the market wants many different things from us. And we're literally having a conversation. I'm a mom of 3. I'm not gonna put your business out there unless you want to claim your kids. I'm a mom of 3. You're a mom of 4. We're married. I have kids who, my oldest 2 are a sophomore and junior in high school. And so, I'm very aware that I have 2 years left with 2 of my babies. And so I'm thinking about, does the growth of our company support the lifestyle I want? And just because we can grow, do we want to grow in all the ways that we can? That's a difficult conversation, but that's up to us as the leadership. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And we get to decide what their summers are going to look like. If we decide to launch 3 new products, guess what? Guess what, team? You're launching 3 new products now as well. And leadership is so critical to the pace of the business and how the business operates and whether or not we burn out. And sometimes leaders will ignore their needs but not think of the needs of the team, and that's absolutely critical. I have to look to them and be like, okay, this project, do we have the bandwidth to support this project? Or is it a season of, let's pull back, let's clean up shop, and let's and let's really focus on the operations so that when we do launch again, we're running like a well-oiled machine.
Agreed. That discernment can be challenging, especially when you might be saying no to revenue dollars. But, if you burn your team out in the process, then what do we gain? Yeah. So I think that's really critical. This parlays so well to the challenge that the women we work with in the big money movement and the challenges they face, because we teach them to secure 6-figure corporate clients. So overnight, they can find themselves in a growth stage that requires them to make some difficult decisions. If you want to continue this conversation and learn how we approach corporate clients to secure business, click the next video where we'll explore that a little bit more.